Joseph's story reminds me of an old saying, of an old legend or old story about a farmer whose horse ran away. Upon hearing the news, neighbors sympathetically said, "Such bad luck." "Maybe," the farmer replied. The following day, the horse returned, bringing 3 other wild horses. "Such good luck," the neighbors exclaimed. "Maybe," replied the farmer. The following day, his son tried to ride one of the wild horses and was thrown and broke his leg. "Such bad luck." "Maybe." A few days after, military officers came to the village to draft young men to the army. They passed by the young man with the broken leg. "Such good luck." "Maybe," said the farmer. Over the last few weeks, we've been following the story of Joseph. At first, he was a young man who was intelligent, lucky, a bit arrogant, and more fortunate than his siblings, and his father loved him more than other children. Such good luck! Then he was sold into slavery by his brothers, who were jealous of him. Such bad luck! But there in Egypt, he was put into the house of the high-ranking official and had a good life. Such good luck, right? Then there was a story of a false accusation, after which Joseph ended up in prison. Bad luck. But there he used his talent to help somebody to recommend him to the Pharaoh. As a result, Joseph became the second most powerful person in Egypt and saved his family from famine. Good luck, right? But we know the story. And this one did not end well. Soon, we will read that one day there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. This will be the beginning of the story when Jews will become slaves in Egypt for many generations, for hundreds of years. Is it a bad luck? Eleanor Roosevelt, American political figure, diplomat, activist, and the First Lady of the United States from 1933 to 1945, during her husband, President Franklin Roosevelt, 4 terms in office. Her last book, she wrote many books, but her last book is Tomorrow is Now. And this is her manifesto and vision for the world. She wrote it when he was very ill, and she finished this book while she couldn't even hold a cup of tea. She was very weak. And it was published, I believe, either a few weeks or a few months after her death. In it, Eleanor Roosevelt wrote, "Nothing of what has happened to me or anyone has value unless it is a preparation for what lies ahead. We face the future fortified only with the lessons we have learned from the past. It is today that we must create the world of the future." Spinoza, she wrote, Spinoza, I think, pointed out that we can make the experience valuable when, by imagination and reason, we turn it into foresight. It is that foresight we must acquire. In a really real sense, tomorrow is now. Today will never be easy. Life will always present us with challenges. If Eleanor Roosevelt is correct, it is impossible to judge today's life unless we use it as a lesson for tomorrow. Another famous figure shared the wisdom, and it is Vincent van Gogh. He had articulated a similar idea in a beautiful letter to his brother Theo from the 2nd of October, 1884. In it, Van Gogh writes, "If one wants to be active, one mustn't be afraid sometimes to do something wrong or lapse into some mistakes. To be good, many people think that they will achieve it by doing no harm, and that's a lie. That leads to stagnation, mediocrity. Many painters are afraid of the blank canvas, but the blank canvas is afraid of the truly passionate painter who dares and who has once broken the spell of you can't. Life requires risks. Often, we need to act despite uncertainty. Inevitably, we will make mistakes. The art of life is to turn fears into actions and mistakes into lessons." Brought to Egypt as a slave, Joseph now becomes Egypt's enslaver. And soon enough, a new Pharaoh will rise, and the house of Israel find themselves once again on the wrong end of the enslavement process. What does our tradition teach from this story? Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch, a German Orthodox rabbi, best known as the intellectual founder of contemporary Orthodox Judaism, he notes that in Egypt, after the years of famine, all the land ended up belonging to Pharaoh, except for the land of the priests that remained in their hands. He compares it, so the Rabbi Hirsch compares it to the laws of the land ownership that Torah will have later after Jews break free from slavery. And he thinks that these two systems of land ownership are connected, because he believes that Torah learns, or Jewish way Torah law of land ownership is based on the mistake that Pharaoh did. In contrast to the Egyptian system, all the land belonged to the tribes except for the priests, who had no property in the Israelite kingdom. The entire existence of Israelite priests, says Rabbi Hirsch, dependent on the goodwill of each individual and the respect people accorded them. It is a system where the leadership depends on the public's respect and appreciation, and not one where the public depends on the leadership's generosity. The system of power where there is a gap between leaders and the rest, where people who set the law feel above it, is destined to become oppressive and will end. We live in a world full of uncertainty, and all of us will make mistakes and difficult choices. Mistakes are inevitable. Nothing of what had happened to us has value unless it is a preparation for what lies ahead. Instead of saying how good or how bad life is today, we can say maybe, and do everything we can so that the mistakes of today's leaders become lessons and foundations for a better tomorrow for us all. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will.